Here's how you can be so selfish with your energy that you take back control of your time. Now, before I continue, just so we're on the same page, energy is attention, whether that's mental or emotional. And so the biggest person who's had the most growth closest to me was my mother. At the ripe age of 40, she had the worst midlife crisis that so many people, so many parents, so many family members have everywhere. And it was so bad that she had to get on antidepressants medication because of the depression, because of the toxic cycles, because of the toxic patterns, because of how her energy was spread so thin amongst a whole group of people to make them happy, to feed her energy into their worlds, to the point where she had nothing for herself and the world of hers came crashing down. And so over the last half decade, it's just been between me and her, conversation to conversation to conversation, for her to come off of that. At one point where she was this absolutely shattered, broken, destroyed woman who had no time for the kids, who was struggling to keep the marriage together, who was being so pulled apart from family dynamics, from power dynamics, from all these mental plays that happen, especially in an Asian household, to now where every day she seems happier than the day before, to where 3 to 4 times a week she's up at 6:30 a.m. going to Pilates classes, taking care of herself, spending time with herself, and to the point now where she is spending her free time writing a book. And so here's the 4 things that she changed to go from that person who was struggling on antidepressants and had a shattered world to the happy, balanced, joyful life she has today. So the first thing that she changed was the if I's and the but if I to the so what's. So the if I is like, I've just been invited to this thing, and if I don't go, then they are going to hate me, then they're not going to like me. And she changed that to, so what if I don't go to that event? If I can just tell them politely I'm not able to go, at least I'll keep peace for myself, whether they like me yet less or not. It's the constant focus around the outcome. If I don't do X, I won't get Y. If I don't put in the time for this relationship, then I won't help it grow. If I don't spend time with this person more, then my relationship with them will fall apart. But it's not about the spending time with them or the fixing the broken by constantly wrapping a band-aid around it, but the spending time away to think, to reflect, to process, and to see the habits of why they keep landing where they are. Whether it's friends, whether it's relationships, whether it's a partner. What if I don't make them happy because I chose to do the other thing from what they asked me to do? And she changed it to, so what if I don't do the thing that makes them happy? But at least I choose the thing that allows me to keep my peace. So it's the constant reframe between the two worlds. One world, you're completely caught up in other people's convenience, in other people's worlds, in other people's energy, and that's where you keep giving yours out. And in one world, you hold it for yourself. And so the funny thing is, it might sound contradictory, but if you're selfish with your energy, if you're selfish with your time, not forever, but for a short period of time, you'll be able to see the reality, the realness of people when you say no to someone, how they respond, and you'll be able to understand more about what level they sit at mentally. How much do they actually care for you when you put a no towards them? A lot of times relationships crumble because you're so caught up in the yeses all the time to when you have one no, all of a sudden the whole system falls apart. Your whole friendship, your whole relationship, everything. And so the second thing is having a lot more no's to give out. Just try it. The next time someone asks you for coffee, the next time someone asks you to hang out for a party, at a party, just to hang out as a friend, just say no and see what happens. For the smaller occasions, it won't matter that much. But if there's something bigger that they're doing and you say no, see how they pull you. Watch the energy shift. Watch the energy change. Watch how they respond and react to that. Immediately, they might agree to it. Immediately, they'll be okay to it. The first time, it won't hit as hard. The second time and the third time, their whole system around you will start to really shift. And you'll really notice how much people never really cared about you, but it was all about the self-convenience. A lot of people, the biggest lessons I learned with friends, with relationships, with people I knew, was how high of a level they hold their self-convenience. And if it's not convenient to them, it's a bad decision or it's a bad idea. And like they say, the thing that's right for you might not be right for someone else. And a lot of times, that's exactly how it is. The thing that's right for you will seem wrong or rude or mean to someone else, even if you don't have that intent. And most of the times you won't. Hopefully you won't. But that's what happens the more no's you throw out. Number 3 is reflecting on the past and seeing how much time that you spent on something and what changed because of that. Here's what I mean. When you're in a relationship or with a partner and you are constantly thinking about the possibilities of maybe bringing up something to them or trying to break their cycles or trying to break their patterns or trying to fix them, look at the amount of time that you've spent on thinking about it and how much change came to that. Is it a 1-to-1 ratio, or is it 100-to-1 that you thought about it 100 hours and there was 1 hour of change, or there was one thing that changed in them? Or was it that you spent 1,000 hours or 1,000 days time thinking about it and the change was 1, 2, maybe 3? And so if you think about it, was all that time that you spent on that, spent all your time, your energy, your mental attention on that topic and that subject, was it worth it? Probably not. If you had instead looked inward, looked into yourself, looked at your habits, looked at what you were doing that could be wrong, looked at and positioned the whole thing towards yourself instead of not blaming yourself or being shameful about something or regretting something, but pointing it towards yourself in terms of putting the light on you and looking at every single thing that you could fix, every single thing that you could do better, how much would change? Now, my goal here isn't to tell you to become a fixer or a person that takes all the blame to themselves, because that is a horrible way to go about it. But when you shine the light towards yourself, you realize that there's some triggers and there's some work that you can do within yourself so that you can deal with partners, relationships, and friends better. It's what I do. I understand that I'm not in this world to fix someone or to try to mold their thinking a certain way or to try to get my point across and shut theirs down. My goal is to stay strong in who I am and the things I believe and the way I go about life on the daily, while also understanding how I navigate each relationship based on each relationship. There's no copy-paste formula that you put across from one person to another. I deal with one friend differently to how I deal with a different friend. I deal with a parent different to how I deal with a different parent. When you listen to an artist and the artist has similar songs, 5 songs that maybe sound the exact same, and they go about it back to back to back, there's definitely a formula that they've copy-pasted because maybe the first time it worked. The second time it might have worked again. By the third time, fourth time, fifth time, the audience is kind of a bit saturated with the sound, the music, the way it's going about. And so the audience will usually start to not like it as much, or not like the artist, or not like the music that's coming out, because they're kind of numb to it and because they're at the point where they've heard it before, right? I think about the relationship in a similar way. Every relationship needs and has a different genre, a different sound, and a different sonic sensation to another. So one relationship with one might be a bit more like a Travis Scott. One relationship with another person might be a bit more of a Mariah Carey. One relationship with another person might be a bit more Kanye. My point is that when you have these different perceptions and these different ways of thinking about each relationship and how you go about it and how you navigate each one differently, you'll find you do a much better job of balancing every relationship than thinking about every single one the same way. So I forgot where I was going with this, but the overall point was to change how you navigate each relationship, to change how you work in each relationship, and to maybe change the spotlight from the person in front of you towards yourself and see what that might change.